Elvira, Elvira, my heart. No, that's not the words. Actually, I thought I could do it, but I got the words wrong. That song's gonna be stuck in my head for a while now, for a long time, probably for a little bit. My daughter, she had her play today, and she was Charlotte and Charlotte's Web, and if I could just express to you how proud I am of her for, going out there and just killing it on that stage. I hope this is the first of many where she shines her little light, because that's what she is. She's cool. I love her. Such a sweet baby. Such a hard worker. Like, she really wanted, she wanted a lead role and worked for it and got it. She wanted team captain for her her cheer team, and she worked really hard and she got it, and I'm learning a lot from her, and that's cool. She's only 10. It's been a minute. I haven't I haven't been doing this for 2 weeks now. Thanksgiving was on Thursdays. Usually I do this on Thursdays. And, that was a busy day. I couldn't do it on that day. I could have probably, but, I didn't want to be a crazy person and spend my time away from my family doing this. So I didn't. And then the next Thursday, I was basically just a lazy piece of crap. I just didn't feel like doing it. I didn't want to do it that day, and I didn't. I actually went and played golf at a simulator with my brother and my friends, and had a blast. Today I shot a simulator 86 with no mulligans and 10-foot gimmies. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I told myself I was going to be very upset if I break 100 on the simulator before I do it in real life, and here I am getting an 86. So we'll see how that translates onto the golf course in the springtime, or on a nice 50-degree day in the wintertime, because me and my friends and my brother are completely addicted, and we like to play golf. And it's a blast, and I honestly recommend it to anybody that likes, that wants to get outside and take their mind away from whatever the troubles that they have going on in the world. Because it's nice. It's good to be outside in nature, and it's good to just, I'd rather just be outside and be mad at a little white ball that, doesn't move, and I hit it into the trees. I would rather go out there and do that than just sit around and do nothing. And I don't know. It's nice. It's nice having these hobbies that I have. I absolutely love occupying my mind with different things like this, and like reading, and working out, and building tables, and hair. And honestly, like, speaking of hair, work has been a little tough. I've realized from a very special friend of mine, shout out to Brittany, that one of my coworkers, she's great. We've worked together for a long time, and she keeps it real with me, and I appreciate that from her. And she, I realized, I guess our conversation, to be short, was basically I was spreading myself thin when it came to work. And I guess after COVID, after COVID and Claire, it sucked because I kind of needed to go to work and be at home and help with 4 children. And also, to be honest, a little bit of laziness in there too. I wanted to, I guess after COVID, it made me want to spend time with my family. And now after 4 years after that, it's time to get some shit together. I got some stuff to do, and I got some stuff to pay for, and I'm going to do that next year because this year was stressful, and it's all completely my fault. I mean, me and Cassie's fault, which we totally take responsibility for, basically, is all I'm saying. We just, I had a little bit of a lull with work, and that's okay. I honestly, to be completely honest, I actually learned a lot from it, and it has humbled me completely. And it's nice to be challenged, and it is a challenge, and I'm looking forward to being there a little bit more for my clients. It's been a lot easier now. Like I said, after COVID, I kind of changed my schedule because we had Claire, and I didn't, we got used to this. We was only able to work 3 days for a while, and that seemed to be working. And that was making it able for me to be able to stay home with my babies and help raise them and be there instead of having to do a babysitter. And now my babies are older, and I can work more. I have Haley. Haley gladly helps me with the children. She's my number one, my oldest, and she's about to get her license, so she'll be able to help with that stuff too. So I'm able to be there for my clients more and have a little bit more of an open schedule. And I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. And I'm enjoying the, like I said, I'm enjoying the challenge. I appreciate how much it's humbled me, and, looking forward to it. And honestly, I think it's part of a process that I'm going through where I am just becoming happy. And that's one of the reasons why I want to do this, is because I want to share that happiness. Because there are times in my life where I have been at the lowest of my lows, and to be here and to be to not be so inside of myself, it's a nice feeling. And I think I think it's making me actually want to go out there and work, and because I don't know. I guess I just got used to it, and I guess I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, something's happened. Something in a positive light has happened. I have. It's time. I guess also too, I'm 40 years old. I should be out providing more, and I should be taking care of myself. That's one thing. I've realized how annoyed I am with myself, which it's not like a big annoyance. I love myself. But I have a gym. It's right behind this wall, and it's a nice gym. And I had all of this time to utilize that gym, and I make my own schedule, so It's not like I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning or have to go and work out at 7 o'clock at night, like when it's dinner time. And, I can make a good schedule. And I did make a schedule for me to work out. And I realized that I just didn't do any of that stuff. And I should be built like a Greek god. And I'm not. So that's another thing. I'm really wanting to hold myself accountable. Because, to be honest, turning 40 just is rough. I don't know where all of these... I don't know where this gas has came from in my body, but it's rough. What else is going on? That's really... I guess I've been reading. I am actually almost done with... we're in Sapiens right now. We're in Sapiens right now, and we're on chapter. I'll tell you in just a second. We're on chapter 12 through 14, and it's been 2 weeks since I've actually read this, so this is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be interesting to see how much of this stuff I remember. Because I sort of needed a break from this book. I knew I was going to be in a little bit of a lull because of Thanksgiving, but I wanted to, I don't know, I guess I just need breaks, and I wanted to read something else. And I didn't want to make this a chore, so I did read something else, and it is I apologize, guys. Like I said, 40 gas. This is terrible. It's not cute. Glad I have a wife that loves me for who I am and doesn't judge me for the burps that I have. The book. It's about the Sumerians, which is basically the first civilization. I'm going to lose my place, and that's going to suck. It was... I'll tell you in just a second, actually, if you don't mind. I apologize. Like I said, I have not been very organized. Anyway, the book. I'm almost there. It is right here. Okay. The book is the Sumerians. It's their history and culture and character, and it's by Samuel Noah Kramer. And it was written in 1963. And it's not the Zachariah Hitchen story with, the aliens and the 12th planet, and I think it's the 12th planet, I don't know, and all that stuff. This is actually... these are people that translated all of the tablets that the Sumerians wrote, because whenever they found, excavated where the Sumerians were, like I said, this is the first civilization. I'm going to see if I can sort of talk this out just a little bit. I want to actually, next week will be about this whole book, because I'll be finished with it, and then we'll get back on this. But today we're going to work on the chapters here and then get to that. But the Sumerians, the first civilization that we found, I wanted to read about them because it's almost like it's pre-Bible. And like Abraham is from Ur, which is a Sumerian city. And you realize that a lot of the stories, because they wrote, like I said, they wrote everything down on clay tablets. And they were all well preserved. And they found thousands of them. And they have all these translators that, over time has translated, since I think like the 1800s, have translated these tablets. Some of them not even knowing each other, and able to get the same translations. And then finally, Samuel Noah Kramer, he's kind of the last guy that does this and had the eureka moments where, like, they found out that, like, the Sumerians, before the Bible, the Sumerians also had a flood story, and they also had, like a Noah character for that flood story. The creation story is kind of the same as the Bible's when it comes to, like, making man and creating him from clay and from dirt. And then let's see, they have the same Moses story where they find a baby in a basket floating down the river, and also becomes like really a really important political figure afterwards. And there's a few things, and it was cool because I wanted to read about it, and I wanted to get the actual. I'm not interested. I know that Christopher Hitchen is kind of a fluke when it comes to the stuff that he says, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's all kinds of videos about the Anunnaki and the planet that they're from or whatever, and that they created us, and they've equated it to aliens, and really they were just gods that they made up. And it's kind of what we're talking about in Sapiens, and this is like, I guess it got the first couple chapters of Sapiens is what got me to want to read about the Sumerians. And there's so many cool things. I've actually learned a lot of really neat things. I've learned about like the excavation sites that they had, where they have uncovered these pyramids called ziggurats, where that's another thing. They built these for the gods and it's kind of like the Tower of Babel story. So, it's.
Can you look at your email and send me the Xbox code?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
Look at my. I don't even know which email it is.
It's Richard something Hotmail.
Okay. Well, it's not here yet.
Huh?
It's not here yet, and I'll let you know when it happens. It didn't. Thanks for interrupting. Apologize to the void, please. She's not apologizing. Anyway, man, what a train of thought that I had. I feel like I did pretty good. Anyway, that's it about the Sumerians. We're gonna get into. I want to kind of recap what Sapiens is about, because I feel like it's not. I feel like I just forget so much stuff. So I've actually changed I changed the format a little bit. I don't really want to do so much of a study guide for this thing. I really just want to kind of go over the bullet points. Like, I don't want to draw this stuff out. So maybe we could just, I asked it to give me layman terms bullet points in full sentences, because I'm so tired of reading, like, it'll give me just a word and then has an arrow and give me another word, and I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? So I don't want to make this thing where I'm trying to, like, I don't know, be a slideshow. But I also like to talk about the books, and I can't really talk about the books if I ain't really read a lot of books. So I feel like we just kind of have to move this thing before I can actually just get to talking and get to, get a comfortability to where we can just talk about books. So, and also I want to learn this stuff. So, we'll go over the bullet points. It'll probably be a lot quicker, which I think is good, because I feel like I draw it out like crazy. And then maybe I can sort of go over what I remember as we talk about it. So let me just click on this stuff for me. I'm probably about to get interrupted again, because my house would not be my house without interruptions, which is totally fine, because those children, they make my day 100%. So here we are. I want to get a quick recap. Chapter 1, An Animal of No Significance. Also, one more thing before I get started. I have realized that if you do want to go over these books with a chatbot like ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity or whatever you use, I highly recommend that you try to find a PDF of the book, which a lot of these books have PDFs, like free PDFs that you can download. But if you give that chatbot it's coming to me. If you give it the website, if you give it the link of the PDF, it will basically understand and know that book instead of going to like websites and getting websites depiction, like whoever the writer is of that website and gets their depictions of it. I don't want that. I want it to actually tell me about the book itself and analyze it itself. So on that note, find a PDF, put it through Grok, say, hey, learn this book, and then you can start doing your bullet points for it and all that stuff. So there we go. I'm going to go through I told Grok to briefly summarize and bullet point in complete sentences chapters 1 through 11. We'll read over it, and if I have something to say about it, then I will. If you guys want to chat, if there's anybody that, say hello in the chat. We'll talk afterwards. I'd like to talk to you guys. So I'll finish this stuff, and then hopefully whatever chats that we have in here, if anybody wants to talk afterwards, or if anybody just stumbles upon this and just wants to just say hello and, reminisce for a second, I'd love to do that. So chapter 1, An Animal of No Significance. Homo sapiens evolved about 300,000. Also, I know I'm terrible about this, and it doesn't matter because it doesn't. Anyway, this is Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. It's a brief history of humankind. I see that my computer is blinking. It is basically his theories about how, oh no, it's really blinking now. Stop it. About how it's just basically the brief history of humankind. And we'll go over here. Chapter 1. I'm done talking. Chapter 1, An Animal of No Significance. Homo sapiens evolved about 300,000 years ago in East Africa as one of several human species with the genus Homo. These early humans were insignificant animals with large brains that consumed significant energy, leading them to spend more time foraging and developing tools while remaining in the middle of the food chain. Multiple human species coexisted for millions of years until Homo sapiens became the sole survivor around 30,000 years ago. Chapter 2, The Tree of Knowledge. Around 70,000 years ago, the cognitive revolution enabled Homo sapiens to develop a unique language capable of discussing abstract concepts and fictions. This ability allowed for flexible cooperation in large groups through shared myths, gossips, and collective imaginations. Fictional entities like gods... Oh, boy. Sorry about that. It's kind of good because... usually, and I do this all the time, when I read, I'm not even paying attention. And the whole point of this is for me to actually just beat this into my head so I can remember it. So if you're like me, I'm really good at just subconsciously going somewhere else as I'm reading. I don't even know how that works. It's almost like, who is in control? Is it me or is it my consciousness? That just, I want to read the thing, like I do, but my conscience is just like, no, we're not going to do that. So, who's in control there? Where are we at? Chapter 2, The Tree of Knowledge. Around 70,000 years ago, the cognitive revolution enabled Homo sapiens to develop a unique language capable of discussing abstract concepts and fictions. This ability allowed for flexible cooperation in large groups through shared myths, gossips, and collective imaginations. Fictional entities like gods and companies exist only in human minds, facilitating complex social structures beyond what animals achieve. I think that's what really wanted me to Man, I got out of breath reading that. I think that's what really got me into wanting to learn about the Sumerians, because they had, like, they were, it's almost like they were the OGs. And I don't know. Another thing about them is, I don't know. I guess I just kind of have gotten really obsessed with ancient history and ancient theology, and it's been fun finding a way to figure that out. Did you get it? It's a disaster. This is a disaster. My battery's messing up. Okay. I'm going to ask for them back here soon. Shh. I'm trying to do a podcast. Jesus. That one of the cool things that kind of is that kind of bridges the gap between, like, the Bible and the Sumerians is they also had a king's list, they had a king's list where they talked about all of these kings reigning for thousands of years rather than 100 years or 80 years, and the Bible does that too with a lot of the people. And all of this was before the flood, just like before the flood in the Bible, and then afterwards they all became of normal age to die. And that's a mind bender. You know what I'm saying? Like, to have those similarities together is it's just a cool, fun little mystery, and I enjoy that. I'll never get to the bottom of it. Nobody probably will, but all this stuff is fun, and I feel like it's because I'm becoming an old man. It seems like every time I talk to my elderly men, they're all kind of into the same stuff now. I think it's our mortality calling, to be honest. Let's see. So chapter 4. No, we're on chapter 3. A day in the life of Adam and Eve. Forager societies of early Homo sapiens were diverse, with diets and lifestyles varying by environment, often healthier and more leisurely than later agricultural ones. They likely held animistic beliefs, viewing humans as part of nature rather than superior to it. Daily life involved... What's this cord right here? Freaking me out. It's on the light. I apologize, guys. I'm gonna spill my drink and everything. I'm glad there's only one viewer, and it's probably me that saw that. We're definitely going to edit that out. Don't do that. Oh my God. Of course. Hey, you wanna look like a dork? Start reading books and talk about them on the internet. You wanna look like a bigger dork? Drop your ring light on your head as you're trying to talk about reading books on the internet. So basically chapter 3 is talking about how, let's see, daily life involved into it. So it's talking about the forager lifestyle before we got into agriculture. Because one of the biggest mysteries when it talks about this book is... Hello, Susie. I am really trying to be conscious about what you said to me. Susie said a very... I don't have a lot of listeners at the moment, and so it's really hard for me to get criticism about, how I'm doing with this. And Susie, who is just one of my best friends, who I work with as well, who I have the pleasure of working with, gave me some very good constructive criticism about how it's very hard to keep up with me and my talking, because I'll go from one thing to another, and I do that a lot. So I'm trying to be more conscious of it because of what she said, and I appreciate what she says. So yeah, one of the I'll get back to that. One of the mysteries about the book is how we went from this forager lifestyle of not having to work as hard, hunting for our food. We were really good at that stuff. And we just decided to work extra hard and start farming, which kind of echoes the Bible. Because in the Adam and Eve days, during Adam and Eve, during the Garden of Eden, everything was good. Everything was honky dory. It's almost like before the apple or before the fruit of knowledge was eaten, it was kind of a hunter-gatherer lifestyle, and afterwards they get right into farming. They're going to break their back for farming, and it's almost like a really simple, compact story or compact explanation for a very complex story. And we'll get into that more later, maybe when we're finished with the book and I see everything that's going on. And I've read everything that's going on. Chapter 4, the flood. Around 70,000 years ago, which is so long ago, I'd like to say that, by the way. It's crazy that they're finding Homo sapiens later and later and later on down the road. I think they just found something this week or something like that about they found a new, I guess a new civilization, I guess they would call it that predates way before what we knew in the Americas, all because of camels that we had in America. I guess they migrated to Asia and we don't have any camels anymore, but apparently we did at one point. I saw that on YouTube. It's kind of crazy to say I saw that on YouTube. That just makes it kind of sound like, oh, hell, I don't know. You see something on YouTube, and I guess it just, you almost sound, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's get through the books. Okay, we've got a lot of chapters to go over. Where did we go? So Chapter 4, the flood. Around 70,000 years ago, Homo sapiens spread from Africa, leading to the extinction of other human species, leading to the extinction of other human species and megafauna through hunting, fire use, and ecological disruption. In Australia and the Americas, humans' arrival coincided with massive biodiversity loss. Interbreeding with Neanderthals and Denisovans occurred minimally, but sapiens' rapid dominance altered ecosystems worldwide. Chapter 5, History's Biggest Fraud. The agricultural revolution around 12,000 years ago domesticated plants and animals, increasing food production but worsening human quality of life through hard labor, poor nutrition, and disease. It trapped people in cycles of dependency on crops, leading to population booms and societal complexities. Harari argues it benefited genes and elite classes more than individual farmers who suffered from the shift. So yeah, like I said, farming wasn't only about hard labor. The nutrition wasn't as good. I mean, they farmed wheat, and wheat was just not as good as the traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyle that they lived before that. And then they also had diseases from the livestock and from farming and all. I guess I look at it from I guess I just want to know, what happened there? Why did we start doing that? Why did we start looking for gold, which is one of the chapters in here? What made us get into all of these shared stories to bring us to where we are today? why did we start empires? Why did we start racism? Why did we start religions like we did? Like, how did we go from the Sumerians, which have all of these different gods, and then we go to the Bible, who have these same stories that are connected to the Sumerians, and I don't know. It's just, it's mind blowing to me. It's very interesting. I'd like to learn more about it, so that's why I'm reading. Yeah. Chapter 6, building pyramids, agricultural. Selena, I'll get to that. Well, I'll talk. I got your request to join your group, but what is a recovering atheist? It's somebody who is tired. I don't know. Somebody looking for a purpose. And it was just a silly joke that I made, honestly. I was an atheist for 14 years and decided to read the Bible just to kind of figure out my father, and it changed my life, and my wife drugged me to church as I was reading it, and church changed my life, and I'm kind of recovering from that. I don't know where I'm going with it, but we're on a little journey. Thanks for messaging me, and I saw that you. I hope you join the request, and just sort of check out every once in a while. It's nice to hear from you. Chapter 7. I think we're on chapter 7. No, I think we're on chapter 6. Building the pyramids, agriculture, enabled population growth, surplus food, and rise of hierarchies, kings, and bureaucracies to manage resources. Imagined orders like myths and hierarchies maintained social stability in large societies. Elites used these structures to build monuments and wage wars, while peasants bore the burdens, illustrating how cooperating and imaged realities shaped human history. Chapter 7. Memory overload. As societies grew, humans developed writing and numerical systems around 5,000 years ago to handle complex data beyond biological memory limits. Early scripts like cuneiform, which is they're talking about the Sumerians there with the cuneiforms. Those are the tablets and the all the clay, I guess, like vases and stuff that they wrote on. Those are cuneiforms. Were partial, used mainly for administration, evolving into full scripts for broader expression. These tools facilitated empires and trade, but also reinforced hierarchies through controlled knowledge. Chapter 8, there's no justice in history. Hierarchical societies created unjust divisions based on imagined myths such as castes, slavery, and gender roles, often justified by biology and religion. Patriarchal systems disadvantaged women through physical and cultural mechanisms. Racial hierarchies emerged from imperialism, embedding discrimination that persisted despite lacking biological basis, showing how fictions perpetuate inequality. You know, it's not as layman as you thought, I guess, and I want to challenge myself to kind of sit here and, because I don't think chapter 8 is one of the ones that I was really into. So I'm going to read that again, and then hopefully I can try to explain this in even more layman's term, like I was talking to my mom. So bear with me. I want to read that again. Actually think about it, because I am starting to read again and venture off and then see if I can explain it. Because if I can actually explain it, then I actually know it. So, Chapter 8, there is no justice in history. Hierarchical societies created unjust divisions based on imagined myths such as caste slavery and gender roles. So basically, the religions that some of these cultures made, like castes, is a Indian sort of. It's almost it's not it's racism, I guess, but it's based off of classes, and bear with me, guys, because I really want to do this. It's based off of classes where the higher class does not associate with the lower class, and they don't, because they think that it's going to look bad on them with the gods, and I think that it's outdated and they're trying to fix it. I don't know. And slavery is also, it all comes from, basically what I'm trying to say is that all this stuff like slavery and gender roles, women are basically, they've always kind of been put on the back burner until they finally got their rights that they deserved. And it's all because of religions. Thank you, Selena. I have actually, and I'm reading it again with this, and we'll start with Exodus after I finish this book. We already got through Genesis. If you're interested and you want to watch some crappy little podcast that is probably not interesting at all, it's over on YouTube. And if you have a YouTube channel, then subscribe. That'd be cool. I would have 6 by then. 6 subscribers. So let me finish. Let's see. Patriarchal systems disadvantaged women through physical and cultural mechanisms. Racial hierarchies emerged from imperialism, embedding discrimination that persisted despite lacking biological basis, showing how fictions perpetuated inequality. Yeah, basically that chapter was about how racism started and how, unfortunately we treat other people terrible, and it's because of the shared myths that we believed in before. That's it. Chapter 9. That was a tough challenge for me. I feel like I did a good job. If I was to rate it from 1 to 10, I would give that a 5. Thanks, Selena. I appreciate that. Chapter 9, the arrow of history. Over time, cultures merged into larger entities through trade, conquest, and religion, moving towards global unity despite conflicts. Polytheistic societies were tolerant, while monotheism introduced universal truths, leading to missionary zeal. Dualistic religions like Zoroastrianism influenced views of good versus evil, contributing to cultural consolidation. That's another one that I never really got into, was Zoro. I've never heard that word until I read this book. I don't know what Zoroastrianism is, but since I am interested in religions, it's probably one of the things that I'd like to look into. I'd also like to learn about the Quran and maybe get into that book as well, because I think that I honestly don't know what that book says, but I feel like they're all kind of saying the same thing, and I have a very good hunch that that's the case to an extent. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, and I'm not saying, I have no idea what the Quran says, but I know a lot of good people believe it. I know a lot of bad people believe it, just like a lot of good people believe the Bible and a lot of bad people believe the Bible. And the problem isn't the books, the problem is the people. and how they interpret it. And I just want to learn. I want to learn about it all. So Zoroastrianism, I'm coming for you. I'm going to have to remember that word. I probably should write it down. Chapter 10, The Scent of Money, which was one of my favorites. Money as a universal medium of trust, unified money as a universal medium of trust, unified humankind by converting diverse values into common systems, starting with barter and evolving to coins and credit. It relies on collective imagination, enabling vast trade networks and empires. Capitalism intertwined with money, fostering growth through reinvestment, though it also justified exploitation like the slave trade. Money is the most unifying thing on this earth. And it also can be just the most evilest SOB that there ever was. And it's crazy because it's all made up. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about this book, is that when you realize that all of these things are made up, like money and empires and racism and, I don't want to say religions because we don't know what's going on after that, but they, a lot of the religions, clearly, somebody believes in one religion, a lot of the other religions were made up. And to be fair, if I'm going to be fair, it's the same thing with all of them. Christianity is a religion that has been made up, and like it or not, it's not like Jesus came down and was like, hey, I want you to believe in Christianity and this and that and this. We made that religion up. And it's all just, I feel like if we can understand that money is made up, like I said, money is made up, empires are made up, governments are made up. It's all just things that we created, and it wasn't here before us. It really puts a nice, empathetic perspective on everything, to where you actually can love your neighbor like they were your brother or your sister, and it actually can help you practice radical forgiveness. I don't want to I want to live a Christian life, and I want to I'm practicing it every day. Like I'm what am I 3-4 weeks into finishing the Bible, so 4 weeks post Bible, and I want to live by those words, and I want to practice. I want to be good at forgiveness, and I want to be kind to everybody that I come in contact with, like they were my sister or my brother. I want to treat them like that, and I see people like that more because, and this is one of those things that just helps me. To just realize that all of the lines that are drawn in the sand are completely fake, and everybody is your brother and sister. And when you hear people say just terrible things on the internet, and everybody just kind of rallies around all of those terrible things, you start to get a better sense of what good and evil really is. I hope that's not too much rambling. Like, I guess, I don't know. Like I said, you start to get a good sense of what good and evil really is. And it helps you navigate life a little bit easier. Because I've done evil shit. There's no excuse for things that I've done in my in my past and in my life, but it's kind of hard whenever you were raised by wolves, basically. So I'm glad I'm so grateful that I actually picked up the Bible and started reading it, because, like I said, I was an atheist for 14 years, I think. I think that's what it added up to be. And it just wasn't doing it for me. And unfortunately, I never even gave the Bible a chance before I became an atheist, because because I found it boring, I guess. I just didn't want to read it. And it wasn't the right time for me to read it anyway. I think it takes a little bit more maturity to be able to fully appreciate it. And I was immature as shit to say it short. And yeah, I'm glad that I did it. And it was all complete accident. And it's done something. So, moral of the story. Basically, long story short, post Bible, 4 weeks in post Bible, and I'm practicing forgiveness and treating people how I would like to be treated, and treating people like, they are my brother and sister. I literally, it's easy, honestly, but even before I started reading the Bible, I did love, I love everybody that I come in contact with, and I want to be the type of person to give my shirt off of my back if I needed to, because that was one of the things that I needed to work on, was selfishness. Anyway, chapter 11, we're almost done with this. Chapter 11, Imperial Visions. This is the last chapter. Empires unified diverse peoples under shared administration, spreading cultures and ideas while often erasing local identities. They viewed themselves as benevolent, promoting unity, but relied on force and assimilation. Modern nationalism emerged from imperial legacies. Yet global, and then it stops because AI is just not there yet. Basically, it's talking about the rise of empires and how through all of these shared stories that has brought us together to where we are today, to where we, instead of being in a group of 100 people, we can now cooperate on a scale of, right now, 8 billion people? How many people do we have on this planet? We're doing a pretty good job cooperating. We haven't blown each other up. So through all these stories, through all these made-up stories, created empires. And this is why it's Dumb Man's Book Club, because I'll just fall right off of there. That was a brain fart. Let's hurry up and finish this out. So we're done with that. We're done with those chapters. This is the point where it kind of gets longer and we kind of go over the chapters a little bit more that I just read. That was literally the summary, and it took way longer than I thought. And it's because I started rambling. Study guide for, let's see, what did I ask? Give me a study guide to recite in layman's terms and full sentences for chapters 12 through 14. These shouldn't be that bad. The laws of religion. This chapter is about basically the creation of, all of this. I've learned that all of these books are really just about the shared myths that we've created to get to the point to where we are today. All of the shared stories that we've created, and those stories being, again, empire and money and religion and all of the things that we just went over in those chapters. Kings and presidents and all of that stuff is just all made up to get us to be as unified as we are today, until we basically become one unified world, hopefully, if we don't freaking blow each other up because we can't get along, because we're some weird species of apes that just are very territorial, and they just, if we ain't wiping out other species of Homo whatever, then we're trying to wipe each other out. And it's one of the things that's another thing that the Bible tries to teach you about. So, chapter 12, the law of religions. Religion is not just about believing in gods. It is a system of human rules and values that comes from a superhuman source that nobody can change. All big societies need a religion because only a shared belief that feels bigger than any one person can make millions of strangers follow the same laws and cooperate. Polytheistic religions like ancient Greek or Hindu gods were usually relaxed and tolerant because they accepted many gods and truths. Monotheistic religions like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam say there is only one true God and one truth, so they often try to convert or fight everyone else. One of the things that the book was talking about, which I found very interesting, was the Romans persecuted the Christians in the Bible, but it's really like a small fractions of what happened to the Christians because of what other Christians did to the Christians. There was, millions of Christians killed by Christians through the Crusades, and, just because they disagreed with each other, because we've went from what the Bible says to all of these different things and all of these different perspectives, and couldn't get along with that as well. So that's what I guess. I don't like talking about calling Christianity and Islam and Judaism. I don't like calling those shared myths and shared stories because I don't want to offend anybody. I've learned that talking about stuff like these are hard things to talk about, and I am never trying to offend anybody. But when you get one group of a larger group fighting another group from the same larger group, clearly something is missing there, and something has gotten in the way. And it's no longer something bigger. It's something that we've created. Some religions, such as Buddhism, don't need a god at all. They are about laws of nature and ending personal suffering. So yeah, Buddha was not a god. He was just a person. And that's another thing that I want to read about is Buddhism. So hopefully we can talk about one of them books soon. I've got a lot of books that I want to read. I'm pretty stoked to get into it. We'll talk about some of the formats later on of what I'd like to do, hopefully, if I don't forget. Let's get through this. Over time, religions like Christianity and Islam spread across huge areas and united people who have never met each other under the same beliefs and rules. So yeah, this is just another thing that kind of unified. Religion is kind of another thing that unified us. The spread of Christianity and the spread of Islam and I can't just single out Christianity, but the spread of Islam and all of these different religions makes it to where a group of people from Germany can get along with a group of people from Jerusalem, or a group of people from America can get along with a group of people of whatever country that also believes in Christianity. So it's just another thing that unifies us. Today, over time, religions like Christianity and Islam spread across huge areas and united people who have never met each other under the same beliefs and rules. Today, many people think science has replaced religion, but science doesn't tell us what is right or wrong. Religion still does that job for billions of people. Chapter 13, The Secret of Success. There is no single reason why Europeans ended up ruling the world. History is too complicated and chaotic to have one simple explanation. The real secret of human success is our ability to cooperate in very large numbers using shared stories or myths, such as religion, nations, companies, and human rights. These stories only exist in our heads, but because millions of people believe in them at the same time, they become incredibly powerful and shape the world. No other animal can do this. Ants cooperate in huge numbers but can't change how they cooperate. Chimpanzees are flexible but only in tiny groups. Because our shared beliefs can change quickly, human history keeps taking unexpected turns. Nobody in 1000 CE could have predicted today's world. The future is wide open. Whatever stories most people start believing tomorrow will decide what the world looks like in 100 years. Chapter 14, The Discovery of Ignorance. Around the year 1500, humans suddenly realized how much they did not know. This is the start of the scientific revolution. Before that, most cultures thought they already understood the world and had all the important answers. Modern science is different because it admits ignorance, makes guesses or hypotheses, tests them with experiments, and willing to change its mind. Science grew so powerful because it teamed up with two other forces, the empire, which wanted maps, guns, and ships, and capitalism, which wanted profit from new discoveries. European explorers sailed the world not just for gold, but to fill in blank spaces on maps. This I don't know attitude drove discovery. So, to just kind of stop and sort of just think about what all of that's saying, we went from a point to where all of the unanswered questions that people would have, they would just kind of answer it with religion, and they didn't really ask the questions of, well, they didn't care to know what the actual answers were until around this time. Around the year 1500, where instead of having religion answer the question for you, they actually started to learn what really is going on and started using science more. And I guess that's kind of what helped accelerate where we are today. Because, like I said, we started using science more, and we started getting the answers that we wanted. Sorry, that was hopefully all that is really just for me to kind of know what this is talking about. Because I read this 2 weeks ago, and I've got to say, like, I understand what this is saying. I really hope that you guys kind of are getting it. I feel like I'm just reading to nothing. Hopefully you guys actually read the book. It would be really weird, I don't know, for you guys to be here listening to this stuff, and hopefully it makes any sense at all, because I feel like if you haven't read the book, it probably doesn't. But hopefully you're getting something out of it. Before that, most cultures thought they already understood the world and had all the important answers. Modern science is different because it admits ignorance, makes guesses, tests them with experiments, and was willing to change its mind. Science grew so powerful because it teamed up with two other forces, the empire, which wanted maps, guns, and ships, and capitalism, which wanted profit from new discoveries. European explorers sailed the world not just for gold, but to fill in blank spaces on maps. This I don't know attitude drove discovery. Hi. You going to bed?
Yeah.
Can you come down here and give me hugs? Just give me a hug. You want to give me a hug right here? Say hi. Aw. Love you. You did a great job today. I'm very proud of you. Love you. Good night. Once people accepted that we don't have all the answers, progress exploded. New inventions, medicines, and weapons appeared faster than ever before in history. That's what I was kind of trying to explain with what I was saying earlier. The combinations of admit you don't know and look for new knowledge, money, and power is the engine that still runs the modern world today. And I take a huge, after reading that, that's a valuable lesson to learn, is to admit that you don't know things and look for the knowledge and the money and the power, I guess. But really, honestly, like, that's what I'm trying to do. I talk so much. We're done, by the way. Thank goodness. Recite these bullet points for chapters 12 through 11, locked in plain everyday language. I used to talk so much shit and act like I knew exactly what the fuck. Sorry, quarter in the jar. What I was talking about, and I'm really just full of shit. Another quarter. I'm really just full of crap, and I don't want to be full of crap anymore. And it's not like I was talking like you couldn't trust me, but like, I don't want to be on, the internet and reading all of these headlines and hearing all of these big words and just reciting all of these big words to people. Like, I actually want to understand these things, and I want to understand why we are the way that we are, and I want, I just want to teach my children and teach my grandchildren how to be good people, and they all can live through me, and I can live on. I think that's what a legacy is. I'm not going to paint anything and show it off to the world. I'm not going to change the world like I thought that, like I wanted to one day. But I can do that when it comes to my children, because if I just make a bunch of really good little people, and they make a bunch of really good little people, and so on and so on and so on, then we're spreading good, even when I'm not here. And that's what I want. So I do this for them. I hope that, and I can't do that. I can't do this for them if I don't know how to do it, and I was never taught. And as a man now, I want to take responsibility for that and actually be able to speak with some weight. And maybe it's because I'm getting older. But that's what I want. And I want them to be able to come back and listen to this stuff and hopefully get something out of it. And that's really it. That's the end of that portion of the show. We're basically coming to an end. That was fun. I haven't been here for 2 weeks. I feel like I did a pretty solid job, all things considering. Had the battery go out. Had the light fall on my head. Came here pretty late. That's okay. I've just kind of learned to just roll with the punches. I went to, I guess we got a little bit, it's 10:50. I went to therapy last week, and we were talking about some coping mechanisms that you can do when it comes to OCD. And the problem that I have is I get in my head a lot, and I start to just spin out of control with the things that I say to myself in my head, and I just keep going and going and just kind of building this snowball of just negativity. And one of the things that my therapist told me to do was, which I hope that I'm doing it correctly, is when I get to the point where I have these negative things to say, or like I say that I'm going to fail at something, like let's say, it almost seems like life is like a video game, and you can get to a game over at one point, or you can be successful and get to the princess only to realize that she's in another castle. But I tend to completely fixate on failure, and instead of going into it saying I am a failure, I'm going to fail, instead of doing that, go into it saying, okay, then I will fail, I can fail, I hope that I fail. And he said something that really messed me up, honestly, because whenever you hear it said like that, it just doesn't make sense. But he said that he prays for me to fail, and he doesn't want me to fail. But say that you'll take that burden on. Say that, invite it. And it's not like you actually want it, but it's not making you spin out of control. It's almost like if you have OCD and like every time you touch a doorknob or something like that, you really have to just wash your hands and stuff and get it off of you, because you have these germs on you that you just cannot get off. So you have to wash your hands, or you have some kind of thing that you do that you don't like this feeling, like you touch and there's nothing wrong with you and you're fine, but for some reason you have to get whatever you just did on your hands. I get like that with doorknobs sometimes. And it's almost like the older I get, the less I just do not want to touch a door handle ever. So I use my shirt or something like that, or I'll use my elbow, like that really matters. But what I'm trying to say is, finishing what I'm saying is, instead of going to wash your hands, you almost have to do the radical opposite. The germs that you have from the doorknobs, wipe it on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Spread it around. If I put it on your face, I've been spitting on this thing forever. And yes, it kind of gives me little mini heart attacks, but I am fine. And it just kind of, it relaxes you. It feels good. So if you are anything like me and you say one thing and you say one thing to yourself and it snowballs and snowballs and becomes worse and worse while you're saying it in your head, invite it. And say you're going to just completely run out of you're worried about your finances, or you're worried about not having anything for Christmas, and you just tell how much of a piece of shit you are because you don't, it's tough to provide. Invite it. Say, it's fine. I hope they don't get anything for Christmas. I hope, they don't. I hope it gets taken away. Like, whatever you buy, like, I hope that it's stolen. I don't know. Whatever you have to say to, like, whatever's the exact opposite of that. And then it sort of just kind of washes away. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I've been trying it out. Every time something like that comes up, I just tell myself, okay, yeah, I hope that it happens. I hope that it doesn't work out. I pray for it not to work out. And then you just sort of sit in it like that. You just kind of invite it in, and really, like, I don't know, I guess for me, what it does, it just sort of calms it down and washes it away. You can accept the thoughts that you have and don't fixate on them. Well, we're done with that. I think that I understand what's going on with this thing. I hope that you guys do too. I hope that this is at all exciting, because I can't honestly tell, because I'm speaking to the void at the moment. We'll go. Let's see. Next week I'm going to finish up the book of the Sumerians, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to be able to, help me explain it to you guys, talking to you guys, and also help me retain the information. So, I don't know. I've got some different prompts that I need to work on when it comes to helping me get it out to you guys and explain it to you guys better. So I'm going to finish the Sumerians book this week. And then next week it'll be titled The Sumerians, and then we can get back to Sapiens and finish this book out. That way we can move on to Exodus. We can finish up Exodus, because at this rate I will probably be dead before the Bible's over with all of these books that I'm trying to get out and read. And that goes on to the next thing that I wanted to say. I'm going to start reading a little bit more. I feel like I don't want to do chapters, I'm on chapter 12 through 14. So next week, whenever I start reading, whenever I get back to Sapiens, I'm probably just going to read from wherever I am at that point to wherever I get to on the next Thursday. And we can just kind of go over these books a little bit more, because at the pace that I'm at right now, it's a little slow and I want to finish more books. So that's how that's going to be done. We're not going over a set one, but if you're wanting to follow along and stuff like that, this is now turned into a thing where instead of it being live, which I like doing it on live, like we can start talking about some stuff and people can go in and out, but I'm hoping that people just come back to the recordings, which that's what's going on anyway, because I don't have nobody's watching this at the moment as it's live anyway. So I was hoping my friend Donnie might stop by and say hello. He messaged me this week, and I haven't got a chance to get back to him. Donnie is a great friend of mine who was a childhood friend, and he was my best friend. I mean, he's such a sweet dude, and he kind of, got into some trouble, and we, and he talks about it on the internet. So, he went to prison for a while, and he's back, and I really love hearing from him, and I'm so glad to see him out, and I really hope, and I pray that he stays on a straightened path and doesn't end up in prison again, or just doesn't end up doing, which I don't think he will, because honestly, Donnie is such a sweet dude, and he doesn't deserve the things that has happened to him in his life as a child. And it's nice to hear from him, and I don't want him to think that I have ignored him. And I'm hoping that we can talk more, and I would love to talk to him and kind of hear how that went, and maybe do something on podcast where me and him can talk about it. That would be really cool. So maybe we can set that up, and I would actually have a first time guest. That would be fun. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week. See you Thursday. That was fun. This isn't it. It's not perfect. And I keep telling myself, I'm going to keep doing this so I can start figuring out. Because right now I just kind of feel like a fraud. And, honestly, I am a fraud. And I don't really care if anything happens with this. And honestly, my camera could break right now, and I would be completely fine with that, and this thing wouldn't go on, and then it'd be fine. See what I'm doing there? I'm kind of doing the OCD thing to just sort of now I feel like I'm sort of fixating on doing that. Mental health, guys. Mental health. I'm just blabbering now. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.